This young one sitting here and sitting at the back are counting on us, parents and teachers, to give them a life tomorrow and to give them a future tomorrow. And therefore, we should be finding answers to the questions: where are our moral values and Ghanaian values of punctuality, hard work, honesty, responsibility, and integrity? Where are they? And maybe, to borrow again your words, keynote speaker, how do we connect these values to the young ones sitting here? And how do we get them to accept to live with those values in order that they prepare for the future? So, Director General GES, now Nana Chair, and so they say Nana Brian Koko II. When you speak is wisdom. So when you speak is wisdom. So when you said Dachi, Medachi, Modachi, Kanadachi, Amodachi. So to the educators gathered in this room, so Director General TES, Director General TVET, and all educators, today you have my authority and support, and that of the President and the state, to declare zero tolerance for Sunyani. Sunyani, Mumma School Mrano Yejuma. You have no excuse not to let it work, and you have our full support to make it work. For school and Sunyani, or if you want, criminality or criminal conduct should not ever find space in the school environment and should not ever be tolerated or accommodated. Because when that happens, then it means the school environment becomes insecure and unsafe and not good enough for learning. And I use myself as an example and end there to keep honor with my 10 minutes. My son was graduating from school, Akusumbo International School. So he dressed very well and came out of the room. So I invited the mother to come and go and support him. So my son walked out in a very interesting haircut. Sunyani, I was very unhappy about the haircut. So I started protesting from home, driving to Akusumbo. I was very unhappy. Then when I arrived, all the boys wore the same haircut. Now society defining the behavior of my child for me and the conflict. Unacceptable home, acceptable in the school environment. So I appreciate the dilemma of parents. On the floor of Parliament, I told the House plainly that indiscipline had become a distinctively Ghanaian affliction, cutting across learners, teachers, headmasters, and even examination officials, and citing students found carrying firearms to school, surveillance cameras vandalized, narcotic substance sold openly on campuses, and teachers assaulted during West Africa school certificate exams. And now permit me to pose a question that has shaped this conference and that has informed this conference. If our schools cannot form disciplined citizens, what manner of a nation are we preparing for tomorrow? That is why the conclusions and recommendations of this conference is important for President Mahama. Now let me conclude as I promised by thanking all of you for your support. I'm I'm sure in the next coming days, Nana, we'll knock at your doors again. We'll be engaging Otumfu Asantini, yourself, the National Chief Imam, the moderator of the Presbyterian Church, and others, so that we can have a video recording of you making an appeal to parents and to students to uphold the tenets of discipline. So my word today is to answer the question, what kind of society are we building tomorrow? We cannot afford and adhere to the ethos of discipline if they want a better Dachi for themselves and for Ghana tomorrow. Now, the last time I was here in Sunyani, you very well received me, and I promised you that you wanted a regional library for the Bono region. I'm happy to inform you that the Administrator of Common Fund, under his education budget, have signed a contract for the commencement of work regional library. Nana, under our Star J program of $300 million, a number of schools in this region will benefit from rehabilitation. And we are looking for locations in addition to home to site a school for special needs education. I will be looking after this one.
I think that over time, Ghana has only explored one side of the indiscipline equation, which is sanctions. I think that we shouldn't centralize the power, any of the powers to discipline. It shouldn't be at the region, it shouldn't be at the national, it should be at the school. That's where the action takes place. So decision making on discipline, 360 degrees, all the decisions must be taken at the level, but schools must account for those decisions. Then we must also introduce what we call character certificates. If I go to school, I know I'm going to graduate with a WASI certificate. I'm putting a lot of effort in improving my academic performance. We must introduce a character certificate, which will place significant premium on my character, such that from semester 1 to semester 6, when I finish Form 3, I build the character certificates, which will come with a grading system, a score, which will be given significant premium just as my WASI certificate. So if I want to, after school, go to tertiary, it should be made a requirement that I must score a good character grade on my character certificate, same as my WASI certificate. With that in mind, I will be interested in involving myself in the character and the actions that builds great points for my character certificate, and I will not be encouraged to participate in activities that will give me negative points on my certificate. Beyond that, we should mention the character certificate system into public employment. If I want to go into public service, I want to go into the security agencies, once I am applying to be employed by any agency of the state, my WASI certificate is first, second is my character certificate. With a poor score, I may not be considered. If we have such systems, while I'm in school, okay, I am minded that my character will produce a certificate. So I should, as much as possible, try and engage in acceptable conduct and score high grades on my character certificate. This is how you incentivize good behavior. At the same time, incentivize negative behavior without necessarily going to apply corporate punishment. In addition to that, if we decentralize the powers of the school to manage discipline, including dismissing students who are not fit to be in the school environment because their continuous stay there is inimical to conducive academic environment and also general moral good conduct of other students. Those powers should be given to the schools.
So
as we decentralize the powers to discipline and shift those powers to schools, authority must come with responsibility and accountability. So we must build a framework where schools account for the use of those powers to the Ghana Education Service. It is not absolute authority. Okay, so they must account for their use in a manner that doesn't subject the authority to abuse. Okay, in the same way, the character certificate system that Edward is opposing, for which we are submitting a memorandum to the Ministry of Education, also comes with a system where there is an appellate process. If at the end of semester 1, I score C in my character certificate, and I believe that based on the various character traits that amount to indicators in the assessment framework, for example, I was punctual enough
First to break.
The governance structures of decision taking.
You are most welcome to KMTV. First to break the news.
You know, when the textbooks, even we gave them handouts on past questions, marking schemes, and
KMTV. First to break the news.
SS2, SS3 were denied. So from the onset, we have seen a dichotomy or an apartheid system introduced into the system, where the newcomers see themselves as a special group of people. The chosen few, we call them Akufo-Addo graduates, that etched deep into their minds, as against the existing students that were there. So that's
Thanks for watching KMTV.
That is for themselves as
First
different
to break the news.
Now, you remember, even in the first examination 2020, they believed that the free thing that they had, that you have free access to what? Passing the examination. And when they denied, the very president that expanded the free access gave them that benefit, where was the target of insult.
KMTV.
And that was the time that we could have crapped the Islamic whip. But the president gave them a pardon. So we lost the first battle.
You are
From
most
there,
welcome
so
to
that they are untouchable.
KMTV.
Two, why do we have
First to
leave
break
every
the
decision taken
news.
on discipline, say repetition, suspension, even dismissal for gross misconduct to the GS Director General or Regional Director? We have a school board of governors composed of every stakeholder. DG is represented on that board. Regional Director, this director represented on that board. All students, teachers, parents, all represented. This assembly, PTA. So why do you have to seek the approval of the GS Director General for some issues? So for me, we should more or less remove the bureaucracy surrounding the discipline and allow the school heads and their boards of governors to take the decision on those issues involving repetition or remediation of students, suspension, and even dismissal, and leave only the criminal aspects to the appropriate agency to take a decision on. Because
Thanks
when
for
you
watching
refer to
KMTV.
Director General, there is interference.
First to break the news.
Chiefs will go to him, ministers will speak to him, MPs go to him, opinion leaders will go and threaten. Then, even by the time they take the decision on that discipline, the students have left school. It could take about a year or two before the decision comes. And if students know that somebody was involved in indiscipline and he was in the school for about 1 year, hearing nothing, the teacher that takes the decision or that catches the student in that discipline act becomes disillusioned. The next time you see anything going on before the act, will be indifferent, as we are seeing now in most of the schools now. Then thirdly, if you allow the DG, as I said, to take the decision, then
KMTV. First to
when the
break
school
the
board take the
news.
decision, because every sector is represented, there's no need that or it will be difficult for any stakeholder to influence them. But if the DG is to the decision, is a single person. When you have a call from a political authority, he feels threatened, and that can also scare him. So let's devote the decision taking on discipline to the schools. So,
Thanks for watching KMTV.
What happened was that the student will be taken
First,
to
to
the
break the
judicial
news.
process. If then he will be told what he has committed wrongly. Then the headmaster will invite that student to his office. The offense will be booked in the logbook, okay? Then a teacher will be invited by the headmaster to execute
You
that
are most
punishment.
welcome to
But it has been
KMTV.
abused. Teachers in the classroom can use the
First,
cane
to break
have us
the
up
news.
to see bruises at the back and buttocks, sometimes the legs of the teacher, of the student. So that provokes public opinion against the system. So if it can be managed in a way that it will be controlled, it can only be executed at the instance of the head of school, logged, and number of strokes the headmaster decides on, given by an accredited teacher. That I have no problem with it. But if you be a free fall for every other teacher to do, as we were experiencing before it was banned, then we better not
You are most welcome to KMTV. First, to
Before
break
then,
the news.
before you became a headmaster, you had to go through a rigorous interview process. The interview itself becomes an orientation. A political party will bring somebody, is our member, so appoint him. Headmasters are being appointed without any interview.
Thanks for
Not
watching
on merit,
KMTV.
but on political grounds. Such a person knows
First,
nothing
to
about
break
school
the
governance.
news.
And when he goes there, his allegiance is not to the education system, but the appointing authority, the political authority that gave him that power. And after the appointment, there is no orientation. They don't know how to
You are
manage
most
headmaster
welcome to
teacher relationship,
KMTV.
headmaster student relationship, headmaster community
First, to
relationship.
break the news.
So I would insist that we should cease appointment of headmasters without interview. If we interview them and appoint them, there will be orientation for them to put them on the job. Second, the teachers, most of them are young teachers who have passed through the system. Most of them even go through the system through malpractice.
First, to break the
So they don't
news.
see anything wrong when the students dress improperly or to fista or misbehave. And there might be constant orientation. When the teacher is enrolled, there might be orientation for that teacher before he takes his job. He must be educated on how, not only how to teach, but how to manage the student and indiscipline, so that when he's in the classroom,
Thanks for watching KMTV.
those issues, you know how to handle them.
First, to
Then
break
our
the news.
counseling unit,
Break the news.
you know, we have come to a situation where we don't have sufficient trained guidance and counselors, teachers in the system. So any teacher that maybe is very calm on staff, or is a reverend minister, or he says he's a Christian, then we appoint him to be a counselor. That is not the job. So you must have trained counselors, professional counselors dealing with the students. They know how to handle them, and you might provide them with
You
the
are
resources,
most welcome to
the office,
KMTV.
the serenity of the office, the confidentiality
First,
of
to
information
break
taken
the
at the office.
news.
You can have an office where a counselor is more or less interacting with students. Other students, teachers are entering it. There's no privacy. So we must have a professional counseling unit in the schools. GS must fund those units to be able to cater for students.
There are two sides to the work we do at EduWatch. One is that we market policy to other governments based on global or proven global best practices from other countries, right? The other we do is that we, on the basis of emerging challenges,
First, to break the
recommendations
news.
that are innovative and market them to other countries. This is one that we are marketing. But we are marketing it on the basis that we used to have a testimonial system in our system. When we were in secondary school, there was a testimonial system. Okay, we are building upon that system to make it, one, compulsory, to make it systemic,
Thanks
and
for
to make
watching
it
KMTV.
much more accountable.
First, to
In a
break
manner
the
that
news. Break the
one
news.
person will determine what your character was in school. But then there will be an assessment framework that if you are late in attending to school gatherings, that is one indicator. If you are not punctual in class,
First to break.
if you are abusive towards your fellow students, if you are fighting, engaging in assault or battery, that's one. If you are misconducting yourself before teachers, disregard for lawful authority. So you have various indicators. Okay, that will be in the evaluation grade for your character. So that will be a scientific evaluation or assessment of one's character. So we are proposing, an innovative character certificate system, which is built on what we used to have as a student testimonial. So it's a proposal that is building upon what used to exist.
Thanks for watching
in our education
KMTV.
system, but wasn't
First to break the news.
wasn't a system requirement. And we are building on the relevance to universalize it to the extent that if you want to get employment, just that they will ask you for your WASI certificate and your national service certificate. Now they also ask you for your character.
You are most welcome to KMTV.
To go a long way in incentivizing
First to break the news.
At the same way, to disincentivize bad conduct, because you know that if they catch you doing drugs, you will not just be suspended and come back repented, but then it will lead to a lower ranking on your character certificate, and in future it may affect your ability to progress to tertiary or to enter the world of work with your certificate. So we are all thinking outside the box, trying to figure out innovative solutions to the emerging dynamics in schooling discipline.
You are most welcome to KMTV.
Beside that, we want to pilot it and see how it works.
First to break the news.
And then proceed. But we are ready to provide technical assistance to the Ministry of Education in developing an assessment framework, including safeguarding mechanisms, and as I mentioned, appellate mechanisms within the system, such that there's a fair process for applying.
Thanks for watching KMTV.
And there's also a meritorious
First to break the news.
So that we build a certificate that can have the full trust of all stakeholders. It's the stakeholders who will enforce it.
You are most welcome to KMTV.
One that can be used as one of the requirements of tertiary, and then it is given much more credence to it. Then once the acceptance is wide, conformity will be enhanced, and then we'll be making progress. But I'm saying that we cannot manage indiscipline with only sanctions. That's what we've been doing since Kwame Nkrumah or before. We must also bring on board incentives for positive behavior, so as we call it in America, the carrots and the sticks. The sticks are the sanctions, and the carrots are the incentives. And the incentives to extend beyond the students, also the teachers.
Thanks for watching KMTV.
There must be incentive for teachers
First
to be interested in molding character, managing discipline. There must be incentives, right? What are the incentives? And so conversations must happen around incentive regime for students by way of they getting recognition for good character, and for teachers by way of the role they are supposed to play in ensuring discipline in our schools. So in every enterprise, the lack of incentive leads to disincentivizing actions. It leads to
you are most welcome
inertia.
to KMTV.
It reduces morale. Okay, and so it doesn't bring out the best in actors who are supposed to act. So incentives are very, very important. There are two sides to the work we do at EduWatch. One is that we market policy to other governments based on global or proven global best practices from other countries, right? The other we do is that we, on the basis of...
First of all, I would like to say this conference has been very educative, because personally, I did not really know that the rate at which indiscipline occurs in our various schools was this serious. It is through this conference that I got to know how critical the condition is. For me, indiscipline in our schools did not just start today. It was built little by little, and now that it has arisen to this level, it really needs to be dealt with. And so,
thanks for watching KMTV.
We are in a very bad condition at this stage.
First to break the news.
Okay, what I have learned from this conference is that indiscipline can really be solved It all depends on we the individuals, we the students, and we the stakeholders involved in this fight against indiscipline in our schools. And so indiscipline is something that we can deal with. We just need the determination and the effort to solve it. I would say that students really do have a role to play in indiscipline in our schools because we are the main factors. We are the ones who bring about these acts of indiscipline. We are the ones who beat our teachers. We are the ones who are disrespectful. However, the role of other stakeholders also plays a major role. It is also a very major factor in how students go about bringing about these acts of indiscipline. And so I wouldn't dismiss the fact that students are the ones who portray acts of indiscipline. But then I would also say that the role of other stakeholders must really be needed in order to curb this menace. My answer to the minister's question on whether or not corporal punishment should be re-implemented is a very big yes. Because looking at the state in which we are, corporal punishments may benefit, but then we are looking at the future. The future is what we are much more concerned about. When students are faced with corporal punishment, right now or immediately, they may feel bad, they may feel angry, or they may feel the need not to do that. But then when they sit down and reflect, or probably when they get into the future, they will realize how much corporal punishment has helped. Even though there are other ways we can solve this menace, corporal punishment is one of the ways. And so my answer is a very big yes. Okay, I would say that all the stakeholders have a very major role to play.
Nana Edisa PR for Writers and Debaters Club at St. James Seminary Senior High in Sunyani. We've gathered here to talk about the indisciplinary behavior in students. And this conference is very important to the extent that there are so many times teachers gather or the authorities of schools gather and have their discussion without the knowledge of students. And this affects us in so many ways. But today's program, they included us. So we shared our ideas on how indisciplinary behavior would be solved. So they introduced corporal punishment back into existence. And in my perspective, corporal punishment shouldn't be introduced. There are so many people on the street that they drop out of school due to corporal punishment because they are afraid of cases and how teachers treat them when they come back to school. So we gathered here and we made an important discussion that if corporal punishment should be introduced or not. But in the conclusion, they told us it will be given to the authorities of Ghana, that's the Asante King, the Osei and the Sunyani and other important authorities of Ghana. So we don't much know if they are going to bring corporal punishment into existence or they are not going to bring it into existence. I think the main cause of indisciplinary behavior among students is lack of teachers and also the population of the students. In many times, in the year 2000, where there were no free education, we have few number of students in various schools. But now we have numerous of students and we have few teachers and few authorities. So they only know we have 2,000 people in the school, but they don't really know their names, or they don't really know the individual and the behavior they perform or they pursue in the school. They only know when they portray some indisciplinary acts and they are called to the school VC for them to be prosecuted. So I think the vast number of students in schools and also lack of teachers. There are few number of teachers. In the year 2000, where there were 200 students, there were 16 schools. But when they brought 2,000 students in addition, there are still 16 schools. So I think lack of teachers. As for the parents, I think they should give them the chance to tell them whatever that is affecting them emotionally, psychologically, so that they can express their view and avoid rather discussing things with their friends, but rather with their parents. When they discuss with their parents, they are able to tell them things that affect them and things they do behind their back. Then they can advise them so that they can put a stop to that. As for the teachers, their main problem is that they mostly don't listen to the students, but rather take actions before they listen to us. And it affects us emotionally and it causes school dropouts also. Nana Adisa from St. James Seminary Senior High and also the PR for Writers and Debaters Club.
I welcome you all to the Bono region, particularly to the beautiful city of Sunyani, for this important national conference on stemming the growing indiscipline in schools. I extend our warmest welcome to every participant who has traveled from far and near across the country to be part of this timely and significant occasion. Today, we are gathered not merely for another conference, but for a national conversation of great importance. We meet at a time when the future of our children, the strength of our educational institutions, and the moral direction of our nation require our corrective attention. The challenge before us is clear, and the responsibility to address it demands commitment from all stakeholders. It is a great honor and privilege to welcome the Honorable Minister for Education, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and his entourage to this occasion. Your presence here is a strong reflection of government's commitment to advancing quality education in Ghana and ensuring that our schools serve not only as centers of academic excellence, but also as institutions that nurture discipline, integrity, patriotism, and responsible citizenship among our young people. The growing concern surrounding indiscipline in schools across our beloved country have drawn the attention of educators, parents, religious bodies, traditional authorities, and policymakers. Incidents of bullying, substance abuse, examination malpractice, disrespect for authority, violence, and other forms of misconduct threaten not only academic excellence, but also the moral foundation upon which our nation is built. Education is not limited to the acquisition of knowledge and skills. It must also shape character and prepare individuals to become responsible members of society. Without discipline, knowledge can lose its direction, and without values, intelligence alone cannot build a great nation. Indeed, the classroom must not only produce graduates who can read, write, and innovate. It must produce men and women of character, young people who understand responsibility, respect authority, and appreciate that freedom comes with accountability. It is therefore encouraging that government, under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, continues to prioritize education as a key driver of national development. At the regional level, we have witnessed significant investments aimed at improving the learning environment of our children. Through the Uncapped Get Fund initiative, school infrastructure has expanded across our basic and second cycle schools, providing improved facilities to support teaching and learning. Government continues to strengthen the free senior high school program and is working towards the gradual eradication of the double track system to ensure that students enjoy a more conducive academic experience. These interventions demonstrate government's commitment to creating the conditions necessary for quality education.
My name is Sinemo Manu from the land of the St. James Seminary and Senior High School. And I'm very happy to be proud. I'm very happy and proud to be part of this beautiful day. So today we discuss about a lot of things, which is the indiscipline in our schools. But when you look at the word indiscipline, it means that doing the right thing at the right time and knowing how to do it and when to do it. So today we're trying to talk about those who are supposed to be blamed, whether the parents or the teachers. So, but on my view, I say that it should be blamed on the parents because they are the role models of their children. For even the word of God says, charity begins at home. And they said, spare the rod and spoil the child. So if the parents forget to take care of their children, it becomes a way of spoiling their child. And since they are the role models of their children, they should set as an exemplary life to lead them so that they will also participate in their footsteps as well. Some of them also talk about blaming the government and all those things and introducing corporal punishment. But I suggest that we shouldn't tolerate the corporal punishment, because the corporal punishment, it won't that the corporal punishment shouldn't be entertained or shouldn't be brought back. So when we look about the significance of this program, we know that it helps the parent and helps the student as well. Of course, it benefits the student because the Minister of Education, Haruna Idris, also performed this education for us. Because it benefits the parents as well and benefits the children as well. Because this discussion was about the parent and us the student. Yes. So since it's about the parent and the student, it shows the relationship between the parent and the government, the people around the world. We suggest it benefits us, the children. It benefits us because we learn that we should be able to learn discipline, and our parents should also learn discipline in such a way that they relate with us. They relate with us emotionally and not physically abuse us as well.
My name is Tertiary. I am Regional Director for TVET. This 2-day encounter with the Minister of Education so far is timely and very relevant in the extent that there is a stemming growing of indiscipline in our schools, and TVET institutions are not exceptional. We witness a number of indiscipline in our TVET institutions across the country, of which AHAPO is also part and parcel of it. For me, this engagement is really a very necessary call for all the stakeholders in education to come together and make sure we review the existing protocols or rules and regulations as far as punishing students are concerned. And this 2-day encounter will be something that will let the ministry come out with a holistic rules and regulations that will guide how to curb indiscipline in our TVET and SHS institutions. My minister himself says he wants us to ponder over it as far as corporal punishment is concerned. So I would like us to do a holistic analysis of the whole thing. Even if we are going to reintroduce corporal punishment, what will be the modalities? There should be new way of doing things. But I am also of the view that the old way of doing things should not be taken out totally, because when those measures were in our various schools, discipline was at its highest peak. But now that we thought modernity is the way to go, and therefore we should get rid of some of these old stuffs and stuff, we are witnessing a whole lot of indiscipline in our schools. And for me, let us all ponder over it as the Minister of Education, Honorable Haruna Idris, urge the general public to do. I also second his assertion. I think that over time, Ghana has only explored one side of the indiscipline equation, which is sanctions. Sanctions alone, can't manage indiscipline effectively, as the global best practice suggests. It's important.
The transformation of education is not only about academic excellence. It is about shaping character. It is about nurturing integrity. It is about cultivating responsibility and also preparing young people to become faithful citizens and servant leaders. That is why in this country, there is something known as Presbyterian discipline. It became byword in this country because of what it represented as a result of the education that was provided. It did not emerge by accident. It was earned through generations of intentional Christian formation that combined quality teaching with firm moral instruction, respect for authority, personal responsibility, punctuality, honesty, hard work, and service to society. The early missionaries understood that education without character only produced knowledgeable individuals, but did not produce responsible citizens. It was said that education without morality produces intelligent criminals. Consequently, faith-based schools became communities where values were deliberately taught, modeled, and reinforced. Students learned that discipline was not punishment, but it was training. It was not fear, but to develop self-control. It was not about oppression, but the foundation of freedom and excellence. I believe that that legacy continues to define many institutions even today. However, we also acknowledge that discipline cannot be the responsibility of schools alone. As has been said already, the church, the home, the school, and the wider community are partners in raising every child. And when one of these pillars becomes weak, the entire structure is affected. Today, we face new realities in our nation. Especially with the digital age, our children's lives have been transformed. The way they communicate, the way they interact. Social media, changing family structures, declining moral authority, peer influence, substance abuse, and the misuse of technology have introduced challenges that previous generations never encountered. And it is these realities that require a renewed commitment by all stakeholders. The church therefore supports all good approaches that would restore school discipline to our schools. These approaches must be fair, they must be consistent, they must be restorative, and they must be values-driven. It is important that we hold learners accountable for their actions, but we must equally provide guidance, counseling, mentorship, and opportunities for transformation. As we reflect on these matters, I wish to encourage the Ministry of Education to intentionally empower educators so that educators can enforce discipline in our schools. If we do so, then we will be committing ourselves to building a national culture that rewards integrity, promotes responsibility, restores respect for authority, and places character at the center of education. My Gap people have a problem, which literally translated into English means that when you eat strong-smelling fish, you will need very hot pepper. Load it your son. To eat fish that has a strong smell, you need very, very hot pepper. The issue of discipline requires very, very hot pepper. And my prayer is that this conference will find very, very hot pepper that will deal with the issue of discipline. Let us remember that the children we are preparing today are the fathers and mothers of our society in the next 2 years. If at this point we already experience this level of indiscipline, we should expect a higher degree of indiscipline in the years to come. Parents of today are sometimes even more indisciplined, and hurl insults at some of our educators at the slightest provocation. I believe that it is important that we find a way of dealing with everybody, whether it is church, whether it is the traditional school, whether it is political authority, whether it has to do with our students, educators, or parents, so that we create a good society for ourselves.
My name is Abai Kisirosa Abokanala, a student of Notre Dame Girls Senior High School, and I'm in year 2, a general art student. The conference was very interactive, it was very good. I think the Ministry of Education has done very well because we've gotten a lot of insight. I've gotten to see the severity of the indiscipline acts in Ghana. Sometimes I sit and I wonder, we the younger ones, do we know the implications of this indiscipline acts we've been showcasing? No. After all these years of struggles, all the nationalist movements our forefathers formed to gain independence for our country, here we are now, we are free. But then we the younger ones want to destroy the hard work of our forefathers. I don't think it's right. As a young person, I will tell the younger ones outside that we shouldn't just think about ourselves, but then we should think about the country as a whole and then work together, stop indiscipline acts and be disciplined, doing the right thing at the right time, even if we don't want to do it, for us to all live in peace and let the name of Ghana go high.